Hello guys, and welcome to another David Zamaleta. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about some problems with my Nissan Altima. It always never fails for the car to let you down at the time when you actually need it most. In a couple days, I have to take a Christmas vacation. And, well, guess what? My car's having some issues. Let me point those out. First of all, take a look at the radiator leak I got right at the bottom. Drippy right there. It's dripping down. All right, so yesterday I was at a family Christmas party, and I come outside and I notice I have a little puddle right underneath my my bumper. Well, that being said, I'm thinking, like, what's going on here? I've never seen any leaks from my car before. Okay, that's interesting. So thinking, like, how much water did I lose? Because it was just the puddle wasn't that big. It was about a foot by 2 feet. It wasn't a concrete, so there was no other runs, despite I was standing at an incline. So I figured, okay, well, not that much water came out, at least right now. So then I needed to find out how much water did I lose. So I added some water to it. And I know you're supposed to add radiator fluid, but when you're trying to actually see how much water you lost, water will do just fine, because you don't want to pour that stuff in and start leaking out. So therefore, I poured in just regular faucet water in there, a whole gallon and a half. And then I poured it in, and I'm like looking, and I'm thinking, it don't seem that bad. Like, it was like, okay, it wasn't like a crazy type of leak. But then I'm thinking, okay, so I started driving home. On the way home, I hit a pothole. Let me show you. So the pothole that I hit was on a highway as I was coming on to an exit. Great, hit the pothole, put a hole in my sidewall of my tire. Here's the damage. Like look at that, like, it's crazy. It's pretty bad. And these are actually brand new tires. I actually just got these tires. They're good years. But anyways, I got warranty on them, so that's gonna get warrantied out. So because I was coming off of an exit, I went ahead and went to a QT, one of my favorite gas stations. Okay, and then I decided to look down. Oh yeah, there's some dirt and stuff over here. But this radiator at the bottom of here was kind of like wet, like this. When I looked, a little bit more water came out. So on the way back home, after all this business, after puncturing a hole and having a kind of like a radiator leak, well, I replaced the tire, obviously, with a donut. That was last night. And I had my brother order myself a radiator, because obviously a radiator is leaking, right? Well, I have another problem on my hands, guys. One of the ways to tell that your water pump has failed, or at least your belt is off, is that your car is no longer blowing heat. And normally when it's not blowing heat, it could be caused by like a sort of like a valve type of switch that it switches over from cold to heat. And they do tend to fail in cars. When they fail, then obviously you're either gonna get stuck with cold air or hot air. But when a water pump fails, it does exactly the same thing. As a matter of fact, when it stops circulating the water, it will cause your vehicle to overheat. Like, as far as the engine goes, because it's no longer cooling the engine. But inside of the car, you're no longer getting warm air. So right now it's kind of cold outside. I mean, it's actually a really beautiful day. I mean, it's maybe like 60 right now. But I noticed as I was pulling over here, my car is starting to overheat. Obviously, I lost enough water driving. And as it's overheating, I'm not getting any warm air. Now, that could be caused because I lost most of the water, and there's nothing to be circulated. So a water pump may have failed, but also it can mean that there's no water. And since there's no water, well, there's nothing for it to circulate, of course, for the water pump, and therefore we're not going to get any heat. So here's what I want to find out right now. So I have just a gallon of water with me, and I'm just headed to the Walmart so I could actually replace, do the warranty on that tire, get it replaced. But I'm gonna go ahead and pour a whole gallon of water in the radiator, and obviously that's not gonna be enough because you need like a gallon and a half. And we'll see if the how long it takes for first of all the car to start overheating, which I don't let it overheat. I could just tell it goes slightly above center, and I went ahead and pulled over since I already have water. But anyways, I also want to see if the heat comes back. So let's go ahead and add water and start driving. So here's a jug of water that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and fill up my radiator tank, and we'll see what happens. So I added this entire gallon. Obviously, I did not fill it up completely, but let's see what's going on at the bottom here. As you can see, it's just a little drizzle, nothing major. Some of that water I did spill, and some of it is just coming out. And I'm curious to know, why is it coming out? Is it really a hole in the radiator? And I have lots of questions. Like, one of the questions, why now? You know, why a radiator has failed. Like, I mean, this actually failed before I hit like a pothole. But why now? And is it really the radiator failing, or has the water pump failed, and due to some overheating type of processes, it's causing the water to boil, and it's finding the weakest spot, and then it's just leaking out? Well, one of the things is, here's the overflow tank. This thing's completely empty, and I'm wondering if there's another drain plug. I guess not. I mean, if it's going to overflow from all the heat, this would be the course of action. It would actually take the water all the way up and into the overflow tank. It's kind of like what it's designed to do, I believe, at least on this car. Normally, the water will just drain off like somewhere at the bottom. Like this thing would be caught like somewhere like right there. It would be mounted to the side. So obviously, it's not leaking. Water's not leaking out this way. So could it be like a crack in the radiator somehow? Like just stuff became unwelded, or maybe it's a cheap radiator. Sometimes radiators are not quality, and then this is why they fail. One of the things you guys don't know, I did buy this car from an auction, and it did have a front end damage. It was a very long one, but still had a front end damage. Most likely it was hard enough for the radiator to be needed to be replaced, and the lights and everything. So this whole front end is technically brand new. I'm not sure if the fenders are brand new, but definitely the bumper, the lights, the grill, like all of these things are brand new. So whoever did the work, there's a good idea, a good chance that they used, you know, just some kind of Chinese radiator. And in that case, those radiators fail and they tend to leak. And this may be the case. So once I replace the radiator today, I'm gonna find out if that's the case. But anyways, looking at the car, like not that much water leaked out. I also want to give like a little advice. When your car started overheating and you pull over, and you know, don't try to open up the radiator cap you know, right away. First of all, the steam's gonna come out, it's gonna burn you. But don't do that, because by you doing that, you're actually messing things up. It could actually cause the car to overheat even more. And do not try to add water there, because, you know, hot radiator, cold water being poured in, you know, it could actually stress break, you know, the radiator, not to mention could damage some other components like a new block and stuff, because you just, hot and cold just doesn't work that well. Let the car cool off. And this car, obviously, I didn't get to the point where it was really hot, and I also waited. And while I was making a video, things were cooling down. And when I removed the radiator cap, there was no smoke coming out or nothing. So it was like not boiling. Maybe there was just like not enough water for that to happen. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get going, and we'll see what happens. So anyways, let's go ahead and get the car started. Now I have it set to 90, and we'll go ahead and just set the heat to be blowing from these vents. Right now it's just blowing completely cold air. As you can see, the temperature gauge right there is kind of like on cool. I think if this car is overheating, that will change rather quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and get on the road here. By the way, this is a pretty bad incline there. Kind of, it's just really, this car is very low, even though it's factory. So anyways, as you can see, the temperature is now beginning to climb to the middle. I believe the air started to be slightly warm, but like it's a 90, so like it should be a lot hotter. So yeah, like it's starting to blow hot air, and at the time when I actually pulled over, I did not have heat, so I must have left my house with no water in it at all. So apparently it took me yesterday 37 minutes to get home. I did not overheat the car, but in that whole process, you know, obviously by the time the car made it home, it overheated. Now, some of the theories as to why now, why did the radiator fail right now? Well, one of the things that could fail is because instead of having radiator fluid, there's water inside, and obviously cold temperatures and water don't mix real well, because you know water is going to turn into ice, therefore expanding the radiator more than it needs to be, and then it could break your radiator. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it would be it expands and then it cracks your block, you know, and then, well, now you have a permanent type of issue. So yeah, make sure in the wintertime you have a proper mix of radiator fluid. As a matter of fact, try to just get it serviced before the winter. That way, you know that you have, proper radiator mixture, and it's a good idea to at least do this once a year, regardless. In my situation, I've owned the car since 45,000 miles. As you can see, it's 96,839 now. So this car has really served me well. Let me tell you some of the issues that I had with it. First of all, you've probably seen one of my videos back in the day, and that was regarding the transmission. It was not shifting, and that video got so many views and so many different opinions on it. Like, basically, here's what I found out. When I was trying to do the transmission oil change, I drained about a quart of transmission fluid, and when I did that, obviously I replaced it with CVT type of transmission fluid, but that was the recommended fluid for me to get, and that's what I got on Amazon. But apparently it was the wrong fluid, and I had a lot of comments, people saying that this transmission just will die, like it's just not gonna last. Well, guess what? 51,000 miles later, transmission's still alive. But that being said, this transmission also had a transmission leak. This is why I had 1 quart to begin with. This is probably why I got a really good deal in the car, because somebody thought that transmission was failing. So the reason it was leaking, somebody, whoever did the service on it last, decided that it's a good idea to replace the transmission line with a fuel line. And the fuel line's inside diameter is a lot wider, even though the outside diameter of the fuel line was exactly the same as the transmission line. Well, first of all, it was a harder type of plasticky type of rubber hose, which was very hard to clamp, at least on the fittings for the transmission line, because they were much smaller, because the inside diameter on the fuel hose is much larger than inside diameter of the transmission hoses. So fortunately, it was only one hose that had the issue. And when transmission fluid leaked out and my car started shifting badly again, I did not make a video on it, but it literally leaked out like in about a week. Most of the transmission fluid that I put in there leaked out, and I had very little left over. So therefore, I ended up doing another transmission fluid change. This time, putting the correct CVT type of transmission fluid. Problem solved. And so when that happened, that problem was resolved. Second issue that I had with this car was with the front wheel bearing hubs. Basically, there's bearings in them, and those bearings fail. And my bearings was making like this rumble type of sound as you're driving. It sounds almost like you have very thick tread type of tires, same that would be found in some pickup trucks, and it just makes this sounds like a tire noise, but really it's your bearings failing. So the good idea is just to go ahead and buy a whole hub assembly for the front wheels, both of them, left and the right. Doesn't matter which one's making a noise, because if one's making a noise, the other ones will very soon. So once I actually resolved that issue, which I just recently replaced it, and now drives perfectly. It's very smooth, and of course we're faced with a new issue, which is a radiator. But ultimately this is not very big problems. Fortunately for me, the water pump has not failed. So let's take a look at the temperature gauge. So I've been driving roughly for 8 minutes, and as you can see, the temperature gauge is slightly below half. So the radiator fluid, which in this case is just water, is not leaking out that fast. But at the same time, you know, it's not a very hot day outside. It's fairly cool, and we're moving. And as long as we're moving, air gets circulated to the radiator and ultimately the engine, causing this thing to stay slightly a little bit more cool. You can't really do this in the summertime and have the same type of result. But at least in the wintertime, as you can see, the temperature gauge is slightly less than center. And all we did is add just 1 gallon of water. It really needs 1.5 gallons in my situation. But at the same time right now, what I'm doing is I'm actually doing a flush because you're not supposed to mix radiator fluids together. And I'm not sure what color it had before. I most certainly think it was green. But that being said, I don't know, you know, because it's not like it was visible to me when I bought it. And I haven't done a radiator flush on it yet. So this is a good time for me to do it, replace the radiator, and go ahead and put green type of the most common type of radiator fluid. So we want to make sure that all of the contents of the previous radiator fluid is gone. It's just going to be water. So in this situation, it's fine. I'm going to have about a 40-mile drive, mainly highway right now, to my brother's shop to get the radiator replaced. And I'll make a short little video on that once I get there. But most of it is pretty much just about the whole entire way. It's gonna be like highway, like 55 miles an hour. And I think we're gonna be okay. I'm going to take some extra water with me, you know, before I actually do it. But I'm headed to Walmart to obviously warranty out my tire. So many things happening at once. One of the things I fear that they might just set an appointment for me, because a lot of people obviously need to take care of stuff, especially before the holidays. I may not be able to get to the tire today, which in that case, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and head straight to my brother's place and go ahead and get this radiator taken care of. So since I'll be at Walmart, I'll probably buy myself, just to be sure, I'm gonna buy myself some distilled water this time, because if I lose any water on the way to his shop, I will just add distilled, and that way distilled is the proper mixture water that you should be using when mixing it with radiator fluid, obviously. But hopefully they could replace the tire, you know, like right away. I really don't like driving at donuts. A donut should only be used just to basically get home. Like, that's all. Like, that is how you're supposed to basically use it, or make it to a service shop or whatever. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna give you another update when I know more. So guys, time for me to get to the waiting room and drink some coffee, wait till it gets done. The good thing is, guys, there was absolutely no line. So I got in here this morning, no line, and they're taking care of me like right away. So here's the deal, guys. When you do get road hazard warranty for your tires, it gets prorated completely for free for the first 25% of the wear, tread wear. So if it gets worn beyond that, then you'll have to pay additional money per whatever they'll tell you, I guess, you know, for the proration. But that beats buying a whole brand new tire, I'll tell you that much, because the warranty for each tire is just $10, which is great. So I'll tell you what my bill is going to be, and if it's a free prorated type of thing. But guys, it's definitely good news. And in other news, here's what I'll tell you. One of the things that this is just gonna be like my advice to you guys. So if you're driving your car in the wintertime, you got your heat blasting, like you're being fairly warm, and immediately the cold air starts coming out, quickly find a place to park, because one of many things that could have happened. First of all, you lost all your water. That could have happened. Second of all, your thermostat is completely shut. It will not let water circulate. So again, resulting in really cold air. Or your serpentine has your serpentine belt has ripped, and in that case, water pump is no longer rotating, therefore not circulating the water through the engine, resulting in cold air coming out, because you need really hot air for that to happen. So also, it can also mean that your belt's fine, it's not ripped, you do have the water, your thermostat's fine, but your water pump basically broke. It has the propeller inside, and that propeller will fail and just basically be spinning like for no reason. A lot of times, they could get rusted through or whatever, different situations for everybody. So this is why you need to go ahead and find yourself somewhere to park on the side of the road, usually at least, and just park and quickly take a look at your thermostat. See, like I'm talking about like your gauge on your speedometer. See if your car's overheating. If your car's overheating, immediately shut your car off. If it's not overheating, then try to find a safe place, maybe find another exit and go ahead and maybe pull over at a gas station or some kind of shopping center. Make sure you park in such a way to where it's going to be easy for a tow truck to get you from there in case you need like towing or something. So when you do pull over or on your way over to an exit, you want to make sure if your steering wheel is really hard to turn. If it's your steering wheel really hard to turn, then in that situation, then it means your belt has ripped. But one of the quickest indicators that your belt has ripped, it's your radiator, the battery light will come on your dash. But that could also mean your alternator has worn out. But if all of these things are happening at once, like your car started like overheating, you started getting cold air, blowing, then obviously when the radiator, when the battery light comes on, that means that, well, your alternator is not being no longer rotated by the serpentine belt. Therefore, your battery light will come on. It does not mean that your alternator has failed. It just means that, well, alternator is no longer being rotated. So that's why the battery light will come on, letting you know that, hey, if you continue driving, your battery will die and then you're gonna be stranded somewhere. So there's many, type of car tips, like basic tips that I could give you guys. That's just like one of them. I like to make videos on these type of topics at the time when they're happening, because this is when I'm thinking about everything that's going on, and I'm ruling out all the possible scenarios of what could be going wrong. But anyways, guys, I'll let you know when the tire gets replaced, and we'll continue this again. Well, looking so much better. My tire was replaced. I got original Goodyear all-season tires. Good thing it was in stock. By the way, guys, this is not my driving. This is how it was when I actually bought the car, with all this road hazard. A road rash, on the rim. But that being said, let me show you the receipt. So guys, this is all I ended up paying for it. So it looks like $93 basically got prorated. I only paid $25, and that's because, let me show you, that's what I'm paying for right there. So they're charging me $14 for balancing, plus I chose my tire to basically get road hazard again for $10, and $1.50 is a tire disposal fee. Making the balance $25.50, and that's excluding taxes. And this is why I paid $28.30. So since I'm still at Walmart, the plan is to go ahead and actually get some water. I'm gonna go ahead and probably get like 4 distilled 1 gallon bottles of water, and start driving to my brother's shop and get this thing, get the radiator replaced. So that would be fun. Anyways, guys, I went shopping at Walmart and I come out, and this is what I see. Obviously the car is at this angle right now in the parking lot, so possibly some water running down the radiator and dripping over there as well, or multiple holes. But this is what's going on. So I bought myself 4 gallons of water. Here's my 4 gallons of water. This is just purified drinking water. Unfortunately, they did not have any distilled, just empty shelves. So this will do for now. So I poured out most of this water bottle right here. I still got 3 full ones remaining. Now pouring out just slightly more than half, that's actually a pretty good sign. Yesterday when I filled up water out of that jug right there, it took a gallon and a half to basically put into the radiator. So the hole is not that huge. It should have leaked out way more by now. But anyways, I get going and we'll see how much water we lose once I get there. One of the things I would like to point out is after the tire was installed, the TPMS sensor error is still active. I'm not sure if this will go away after just a little bit, after the car gets proper readings, or the actual TPMS sensor is damaged. But of course the tire actually has proper air inside and is detected that it's low air. That could be due to the fact that it completely did not have air, and after that fact I removed the tire and replaced it with a donut. So now the actual tire is back. I'll let you know if this message disappears, because I'm sure you're gonna run into the same issue. Guys, I'd like to point out that after driving approximately 5 miles, the TPMS sensor error is completely gone, as you can see. So everything is good. That's actually quite amazing, really. The only one light that I do have is a seatbelt light. But anyways, guys, I'll update you again later. But anyways, guys, been driving for about 10 miles or so. As you can see, the temperature gauge is slightly below half, which is normal. What I want to let you know, guys, after driving 40 miles, how much water will I lose? That's what I'm wondering. So I will tell you when I get there. A little update, guys. I've driven exactly 30 miles from the time that I left, and so far so good. I did not have to stop and add any water. The vehicle's not overheating. It is slightly below center, as you can see. Nothing has changed. So I have less than 8 miles left over. Once I do park, I intend to fill it up with water all the way, and we'll see how much water I lost exactly on this drive. Alright guys, I'm at my brother's shop. I just got here. As you can see, my temperature gauge is slightly below half, which is a great sign. It means I did not overheat anything. But anyways, my brother works on Porsches. Here's his Porsche Panamera and his Mercedes AMG, Silk AMG, which is right here. This is a customer's Rolls Royce that's getting ready to get picked up. And of course, the only Nissan that will visit his shop. This is strictly foreign type of makes and models. And here I am. I guess, as they say, like a black sheep amongst white sheep here.
Actually, this plastic, you can actually, this one has to come out.
Yep.
You can remove right through the top.
That'd be cool.
Let's go see the procedures.
Okay. The weird thing about it, no leaks. No leaks right now. How is that even possible? It was leaking like it was.
When it's hot,
not even a drip.
it expands.
Really?
And when the leaks are not that big,
That's probably why it was so hard to catch.
it'll stop it.
Mostly I just do driving and
Yeah,
nothing.
see what the procedures are.
But apparently, guys, I'm not gonna try to remove this right now, because obviously I've been driving. I was gonna try to pour some more water to see how much water we lost, but if it's nothing leaking, I guess I'm not gonna have to really do that, because apparently I'm not losing any water right now. What a weird thing. You know, guys, this is why, like, when you have cars, you just have to be mindful. You always have to pay attention. You always have to look at, like, underneath your car, see if anything's coming out. And when I looked yesterday, I'm like, why is there water? How could I miss such a thing like this? But apparently that was the first time I ever seen any leaks. And now you could see why. There's no leaks right now. So what an interesting problem that is. We're gonna look up the procedures for removing the radiator. I'm gonna remove it. We're gonna take a look at what's actually wrong with it, because at this point I'm curious. And first of all, I was curious, why is it leaking in the first place? Why now? So I guess we'll find out. Well, speaking of leaks, look at that. It just started. So apparently as it's cooling off, it starts creating like a little drip. And apparently it just probably leaks a little at a time each time the car is cooling, causing slowly flow the fluid to work its way out. So I'm sure this is the first time it actually leaked. So I guess since it started leaking, let me see, I'm gonna try to remove the lid from here first. Overflow tank, so no vapors coming out. Let me see, slowly remove this. I'm not sure what's going on here, but let's see if the leak speeds up. I'm not sure if that speeds up. It looks about a similar type of leak. So I'm gonna try to fill it up with the rest of the bottle, see how much it takes. So this is that gallon that I've used, whatever remaining water in here. So we'll see how much water it takes. I'm just gonna try to pour some. I could already hear that it's getting topped off. Yeah, look at that. So I did not add that much water, so this is it. So getting 4 gallons was definitely an overkill, but also this means that today I added a gallon and a half, and I think the reason being is when I parked the car yesterday overnight, apparently water slowly seeped out, and this is why I had just about no water, and very close to it, you know, to getting overheated, but you know, not really. So I've been here approximately 10 minutes, and it's quite a puddle now. This is about what I caught the first day that I've seen it leaking. So my car's in the shop now, and time to get it on the lift. So anyways, guys, it is completely up on the lift. Now, one of the things that I'm hoping is that maybe somehow this is so what I'm hoping, guys, is that this is somehow loose, this little fitting, and then maybe there's like a drain off valve that it's leaking off from. I mean, you could wish, right? Because it's just surprisingly leaking just on this one end right here. It also might have, since that thing just came out so easily, could it be that it just rattled itself apart? Might want to try to get a Phillips head and see how loose that thing is.
Yeah.
Boys,
you're just the greatest mechanic. I mean, you fix stuff for pennies. But
yeah.
See, the thing is,
maybe it's bed threads. Whatever this is.
Let's drain it.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to replace the fluid. It's just surprising that it's such a big one over there, because there's also one over here that.
All this. Might have a metal one like this, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's good. Let's just lower it.
I wonder why this one has like 2 of them. Because there's also another little one. It's like one right here and one over here on this side. See? And this one, I need like the bigger Phillips head.
See, it's like stripped. I have metal one like this.
Yeah, that does make sense that it's stripped. Probably why it came out to begin with.
Let's see if we can get it in there slightly. Yeah, slowly.
Mm-hmm.
We can pressurize it now.
So guys, apparently there's two fittings. So we got this Allen one right here, and we have this one. So let's see if this one's loose. It seems like it's a little bit stripped over here. Doesn't want to do it. So in this case, we'll just use a flathead. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen. Yeah, that's loose as well. Okay, now it's tight. So anyways, guys, here's what we end up doing. We end up actually gluing with silicone at the, on the actual threads, because for some reason the threads in here are stripped. This is why water was leaking out, even though it was, it was slightly loose, but the threads are slipped. And then we also did on top of it with the JB weld. This JB weld just on top. So if it ever needs to be cleaned up, this could easily be like knocked out and then spot this thing out. But even if this is the solid type of fix, the only time I'm actually going to be replacing this radiator is if it gets a hole in it or something. I really don't care. Plus, we do have a secondary drain off like right there. I could always pull this out and drain it. And another way to drain your radiator fluid is basically just removing this pipe. It's not as easy, but when you're replacing a radiator, that's definitely one of the options if you can't drain it. Well, anyways, guys, on that note, we're gonna call it a day. This Nissan Altima, once again, it's fixed. Pennies on the dollar, guys. Lucky this time. What can I say? My wishful thinking paid off. So anyways, guys, if you like this video, please hit a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more videos like this. And if you have any questions,
and if you don't like the video, don't watch it. Simple as that. Quit complaining.
It's gonna be too late by now. But anyways, guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I read all the questions, even if I don't get to your question fast enough, somebody else will. So make sure just put the questions down, because we have experts watching these videos and they like to make sure they will want to answer every single question that you guys have. So anyways, guys, take care. See you in the next video. Bye.